In this video, we are just going to discuss in detail about few of the operators available in Python, which are most widely used around Python codes, around for loops, list, etc. And the first operator that we are going to talk about is a range operator, which we already discussed in the lecture of for loops. So we are just going to see a glance of it. So I'm just building a for loop right over here for x in range of 10. It means that, let's say I just want to print x right over here inside the for loop. What it does is, as we discussed, this will print the numbers from 0 till 10. So this is by default. When you give a single parameter to this range function, it takes the single parameter as the stop number or the end index number. So 10 is the end index number, and when I try to run this, it prints numbers from 0 till 10, not exactly 10, till 10, that is up to 9. So it prints number from 0 to 9. And you can also provide the starting index value of the iteration also right over here inside the range function. So when I give like 2 comma 10, it starts from 2 and prints number till 10. And if you provide the third parameter to this function, it is nothing but the step size that you want to iterate through. So when I give 1, it gives the same result, but when I provide 2 right over here, the iteration takes 2 numbers as the step value. So it starts from 2 and prints next consequent number to be 4, not 3, because the step size is 2. That's it. So that's all about the range function. When I just provide this range 2 comma 10 comma 2, when I execute this particular line, shift enter, it returns the same because this is a generator. But if you want the same output to be fetched right over here, I can just typecast this to list. When I execute this, shift enter, I will get the same output inside the list. 2468. That's it. And moving to the next operator, that is nothing but the enumerator. For explaining the basic functionality of enumerator function, I just want to take an example. I'm just going to declare a variable called index and assigning it the value integer 0, and also I'm just going to declare a string. Let's take it to a b c d e f g, and I'm just going to write a for loop for x in word. I'm just going to print the word of index, and later on I'm just going to increment the index value by 1 and storing it in the same index variable. Now when I try to run this, you can see I will get the individual characters of the word string printed, since we are printing or iterating through this word right over here. But if you take this example of indexing, we may need to do this often in all the programming lines, because we may need to split the string or list or anything for processing the data that is available inside that particular string or list or tuples or whatever it might be. So for understanding this, they have provided an enumerate function. So what I can do here is, avoiding this index incrementing or variable incrementing right over here, you can just give the enumerate function and provide the word inside the enumerate function as the parameter. Now you can remove this index incrementing and the index variable, and I can just print the x right over here. You can see I got the index value as well as the each and every character of the string coupled within a tuples. And as we know, we can unpack and use the tuples like we saw in the for loop lecture or in the tuples lecture. Now I can write like x comma y, and this time when I try to print like print of y, I will get each and every index and the corresponding object of the string separately printed. So x corresponds to the index and y corresponds to the single character of the string. So this is how you can use the enumerate for splitting the string list or whatever it might be in a simple manner. And then you can unpack the tuples and you can process the data. That is very, very simple. And moving to the next zip function, I'm just going to create two list 1 2 3 4, and another list is list 1, and this list is A B C D. I'm executing this. Now when I try to zip these two lists, my list and my list 1, I will get nothing, because we very well know that this is a generator and it is telling that zip is located at the so and so location. So this will return nothing. So for executing this, you may need a for loop. So I will create a for loop for x in zip of my list comma my list 1. Now when I try to print x, you can see both these lists are clubbed together, and each and every object of the list which is corresponding to the same index is coupled in an index right over here. For instance, here in my list, the 0 index is holding the object integer 1, and in my list 1, the 0 index value is holding the object character A. So these two are coupled inside a tuple right over here. And further, you can just split these tuples or unpack these two tuples, and you can print them for further processing also. This is also possible. And the next operator that we are going to see is in operator. This is also a keyword. This is just used to check whether the character or number is present in a list or in a dictionary or in a string. So for example, I can check whether x in xyz, it will return true, and when it is not available, it will return false. And similarly, I can check whether integer 1 is present in a list. True. When it is not available, it will just return false. And also you can check in a dictionary too. That is, I can check whether 1 is available in. I will just create a dictionary right over here. K1 is the key and 1 is the value. It is returning false. So this is returning false because it is checking for the key or whatever you just want to provide where you want to check in the dictionary. So here I'm just declaring a dictionary. Let's take it to be D. Now I'm just going to check whether 1 in D dot values, it is true, and 1 in keys will return false because we have the keys as K1. So here you can provide as K1 in keys, it will return true. So this is how you can check whether the keys or values is available in the dictionary using the in keyword. And also you can use the min and max function. So this will return me with the minimum value in my list and max will be useful for returning the maximum value in my list. So these two functions, min and max, is useful for finding the minimum value and maximum value. This will return a value, so you can use a variable for fetching and storing the returning value from these two functions. And the next thing that we are going to see is random library. So we have a random library in Python. So from random library, we are having a ton of functions. So from random import, when I give tab, you can see you will be popped out with all these functions. These are all the functions available in random library, and one which we are going to see now is shuffle. So when I execute this, so just note down this line here. We are just importing shuffle function from random library. In the future lectures, we will be downloading and using libraries for Python, and but this is a inbuilt library in Python, that is random. So this shuffle function, what it does is, so we already have a list. I'm just creating another list. Let's take it to be my list. So here when I use shuffle my list, it returns nothing, but as the name says, this will shuffle the objects available in the my list. So now when I try to explore my list, shift enter, you can see the value of the list, that is objects inside the my list, is shuffled in a random manner. So this is how you can use the random shuffle function for shuffling the elements inside the list. The next thing that we are going to see inside the random library is randint. So this randint function is useful for generating random numbers within a specified number of range. So here I have provided two parameters to this function, 1, 100. So 1 is the starting integer and 100 is the ending integer. So what I'm saying in this line is, I just want a random number to be generated between 1 and 100. Now when I run this, the number generated is 26. So each time when I run this function call, I will get a random number generated. You can use a variable for storing the random number, and further you can explore that variable, and you can use that random number for processing the data in your program. And finally, in this video, we are just going to see the input function, which is useful for fetching the input from the user at the runtime of the program. So like printf, like scanf in C program, we have this input function in Python. So here I'm just going to write like enter a number. You can see it is prompting me enter, sorry, this is wrong. So you can see here it is asking me to enter a number. Let's take it to be 70. Enter. You can see it returns me with the string 70. Just remember that whatever that you provide right over here in the output window, whatever you give right over here will be taken as a string. So here I can write like input 1, and when I try to give the same number 70. Now this time when you try to explore the input 1, it is string 70, it is not number 70. For converting that string, let me just use the type function for finding the type of input 1. It is saying that it is a string. So for converting this particular string type input into any other type, you can just use the type converters like this, int of input 1 will convert this into integer 70, and float of input 1 will convert this into float type data. So this is how you can fetch input from the user on the runtime of the program using input function. I hope you learned various operators in Python in this particular video, such as range, enumerate, zip, in, max, min, random, shuffle, rand int, input in this particular video. I hope you learned something new in this video. We will be using all these functions and operators in the future videos while developing applications in Python. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.